Tell you what, let's hang a left here. Instead of talking big track and brickyard, let's talk Lucas Oil Raceway and the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series with the driver of the number 32, Mike's Hard Lemonade Chevy Silverado for Turner Motorsports. Steve Arpin's in the house. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning, guys. How's it going today?
Steve, how are you?
I'm doing just great. God, I love the sounds of it when you say that. Driver of the Turner Motorsports Mike's Hard Lemonade Chevrolet. That's like a dream come true. You know that?
Why is that a dream come true for you?
I've been wanting to race these things my entire life, and now we're finally getting to do it. And just to hear you guys say it, kind of makes it all real.
Well, you know, there are a lot of drivers out there that have aspirations of running in NASCAR's top three divisions, whether it be Sprint Cup racing, whether it be nationwide, whether it be Camping World Trucks. You obviously get a chance to do that this weekend. For those that are not familiar with you, you obviously a Canadian and trying to make this work down in the States. Tell us about your racing background, where you've been, and what you've done before we talk about where you're going and where you want to do.
I've pretty much raced everything I could get my hands on. Started out in go-karts when I was 10 years old. Quickly started racing snowmobiles throughout the wintertime. We've raced, believe it or not, actually, one summer the most money I made racing was racing bathtub boats. If you've ever heard of that before.
Wait a minute. Give us a little more info on that, Steve.
Spill your guts on that one, pal.
It's a little bit of a Canadian thing, but you take a bathtub, like an old cast iron tub or something, and you cut the front of the hull out of a boat, and you fiberglass it all together. You make a little transom on the back, put a 10 or a 15 horse outboard on the back of it, and you go out there and you have races. It actually gets pretty interesting too. You got bathtub boats flipping all the time and rolling, and you have to put little buoys on the motors because the motors fall off and sink to the bottom of the lake, and it gets pretty interesting.
Wow. Well, I got to be honest with you. I'm a little speechless. I've never heard of racing bathtub boats before.
I'll get some pictures for you. I'll get some pictures and email them over to you.
Well, you know, they're looking for a date over at Lucas Oil Raceway to film the Nationwide Series. Maybe we get the bathtub boats over there.
Well, that's what I was thinking for Daytona last year. We need to, or next year. They got the lake in the back there. We need to get some bathtub boats out there and put on a little show for the fans.
It'll be the Safeguard 75. Look at them go.
Oh, that'd be great. So no, but in all seriousness though, we've raced everything. We started racing snowmobiles professionally for the Polaris factory, and really started concentrating on dirt modified racing, and raced our dirt modifieds all across the country, and just had really good success with that, and started kind of trying to venture into the asphalt stuff, and was fortunate enough to get surrounded by really good people, and moved into ARCA, and then a little bit nationwide last year, and here we are in the trucks today. So it's been a fun career, and hopefully I got a lot more memories to make as we keep on moving forward here.
So this is your first start in the truck series at Lucas Oil Raceway, but you've raced there before in a Silver Crown car.
I did. Everyone keeps on asking me about that too, and I'll be honest, I think that was my second race in a Silver Crown car. My first race, I was actually sitting at Carl Edwards' house down in North Carolina, and I'd never been on asphalt before, and he called me up. My wife and I were getting ready to get on the plane and go home. And he calls me up. He's like, "Hey, man, do you got to go home today?" I said, "Well, no, not really. Like, I'm just going to race my dirt car." He goes, "All right, perfect. Change your flight and hop in my truck and go to Richmond." I'm like, "All right." So we started driving down there. I'm like, "Dude, what am I doing? Like, what am I going down here for?" He goes, "Well, I got a Silver Crown car there you got to race."
Wow.
And it was just kind of off the wall. That's how it all started. And I was actually staying at his house, and he said, "Just hop in my truck. I got a truck in the garage over there. Just hop in the truck and head down to Richmond." It went out. What's that?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It actually went all right. You know, it was a backup car. We weren't expecting to race it, and practice and qualifying went better than we expected. So we went out and raced it. We ended up having lots of mechanical problems as we got rolling, but then they decided that we should do it again in ORP. So that was my first actual real race that I was actually going out to compete in, and I think we ended up like 15th or 16th or something. But it was fun. I just don't remember it one bit.
How did you get to know Carl like that?
Well, Carl, we both grew up racing the same thing, like being in dirt modifieds and everything. And Carl, he's he's just a great guy. You guys all know this. Everyone that has the opportunity to know Carl know that the guy that you see on camera, the guy that's just we all know as Carl, is the real Carl. And I ended up getting burnt in down at Volusia County at Daytona Speedweeks a couple of years ago. And I guess he'd been following me and kind of watching what we were doing in the modified world, and he just called me up in the hospital and just wanted to wish me the best and everything, and we just hit it off from there. He ended up racing my dirt car the next night, and we had lots of sponsors on board that were supporting us for that week, so I wanted to make sure the car was racing. So how much better could you do for your sponsors than putting Carl Edwards in the car? And the worst part is he backed it into the wall, though.
But you know what? I think he's good for the repair bill.
He signed the quarter panel. He wrinkled up for me, so that was a keeper. We put that on the fence.
Well, good for you.
We put that on the wall at the shop.
What's going to be your biggest challenge tomorrow night, Steve? Getting around that Lucas Oil Raceway with the truck.
You know, it's every race we've had so far this year. It's kind of been a new set of challenges. Like Texas and Kentucky, it was really these trucks are so aero sensitive. And people can kind of tell you what to expect and what to be thinking of and what you need to watch for and be ready for. But it's kind of one of those deals where you can't really be ready for it until you feel it for yourself. And there's the way you position yourself on the racetrack in relation to other trucks, and there's so many different situations. If you got a guy on your inside, if you got a guy on your outside, if you got a guy tucked up your rear bumper, just no matter where you position yourself, it completely changes everything, the way these trucks handle. And for going into tomorrow night, to be honest with you, I don't really know, because I haven't really raced on a real short track yet. I was the only thing I raced. But watching the footage and everything, I've been watching a lot of in-car stuff, and these guys just really get after. Like these guys in the truck series, they don't have 50, 60, 100 laps in the middle of the race where they're just kind of logging laps. These guys get after it every lap of the race. So it's we just got to make sure I've got the thing in practice where we need it for when the sun goes down later in the night, and really just be up on the wheel and make sure I give the crew good feedback so we keep up with the racetrack as the sun goes down.
Well, we wish you the best driving the number 32 Mike's Hard Lemonade Chevrolet. Steve Arpin, one of the many drivers to keep an eye on in tomorrow night's AAA Insurance 200 at Lucas Oil Raceway. Appreciate the time. We'll look forward to visiting with you tomorrow once we get to the racetrack, and all the best this weekend in Indianapolis.
I appreciate it, guys, and I'll show you some bathtub boats. And with it being so hot tomorrow, we're all going to have to sit down and have a nice cold Mike's Hard Lemonade tomorrow night after the race.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying right there.
Thanks, Steve.
That is Steve Arpin on the hotline, joining us as he gets set for the run at Lucas Oil Raceway, and offering up a tasty libation as well on part of the plan.
Boy, you think about the stat work you did for this weekend. What about one of those bathtub boat races if you had to bone up on that?
Well, you saw me easy. You saw me pull out my notes on that one. Bathtub boats? What are you talking about? That's pretty awesome. Hey, let's get a bathtub. Let's strap a motor to it. Let's just take it around the lake a couple times.
Listen, I'm with them. You know what? Let's get that on the Speed Weeks 2012 plan there on Lake Lloyd. I think it'll be a lot of fun.
Paging Joey Chitwood. Coming up, we've got the fourth and final hour of TMD. We're kicking off with Bobby Hamilton Jr. He will join us this morning. Also, Stephen Wallace at quarter past, as well as the men of the midday. We'll check in with Rick Benjamin and Chocolate Myers as they get set to settle into the NASCAR Hall of Fame studios of Sirius XM NASCAR Radio in Uptown Charlotte. Trading Paint coming up 1 hour from now. The final climbing of the clock together, commencing with TMD analyst Bobby Hamilton Jr.